you kind of saw this coming if you saw like how I ended my last video, and this is just another one of those things where it's not totally game related, just a little tale from my childhood, and that's wrestling. And before you even ask, no, I'm not doing a follow up video about present wrestling. Like that's it. Okay, I'm drawing a line right there. Just no, no, no. I'm not talking about present wrestling. If you want to hear my thoughts on that, and like just check my Twitter feed because that's literally, oh my god, just so much. And other people talk about like the current problems in wrestling nowadays. So yeah, I'm not talking about the present. Talk about the past and my childhood with it. So basically, off the rip, I'm one of those. You heard it all before. Like, oh, Attitude Era was my childhood. I grew up on that. And it was like best era of wrestling and whatnot. And like, you know how it is. Look at it now. You can like see the flaws in it, but some people like nostalgia blind and refuse to see the faults with it. So yeah, we like videos talk about like how wrong that was, but me personally, I got into like the same way I got to video games. I got into it through my older brother, cause he used to watch wrestling. He grew up with and it was NWA when he started. He grew up with them, and then like he grew up with Ric Flair and RNS and people like that. He's part of the age group that grew up with Hulk Hogan and saw just how bad of Hulk Hogan was back then as the face of the company, and later like Presley he does like John Cena. He didn't like him when he first came with his rapping gimmick, and to his point, to like he brought up some good points about that. So um I got to it like just that's like what I would watch, see him watching like WWF during the Attitude Era, and just him because our mom used to watch it too. So just have them, just with them watching it, and I got into it, and then I got my brother into it, and he started watching it too, and back then, like how game it was in my early childhood, like it was a really like family bonding experience because we would just all watch it. Like we would watch Raw and SmackDown, and we all had our own favorite wrestlers. Like I was like I like the obvious faces at the time, like The Rock. My older brother, his favorite was Stone Cold, and my brother and my or no, mom, they both like Kurt Angle a lot. my my mom especially liked Kurt Angle, and other wrestlers like Chris Benoit, Chris Jericho, Kane. That was my brother's top favorite. Like Kane, I like the Undertaker. I personally like the Undertaker, and that was just the gist of it. And also like whenever Raw, like the thing with me, like I always use Raw as a excuse. Raw is my excuse to like stay up late on Monday, because you know how it was back then. Back in like my childhood, like shoot, like anybody's childhood, you have like a small. Your metabolism is like as good as it is when you're older. Like you can't stay up that late and have school the next day too, and a perfect attendance record to uphold too. But every Monday we had those like that 2 hour Raw, and we would just like stay up past our bedtime and just watch the entirety of it. And that's something that just can't be can't be replaced. Like that's just like one of the things you can't forget because it was basically a a way around the system. Like the system that blocked you as a child, like going to bed early, and that was one thing. Same applied for pay per views too, because the same thing happened. And the funny thing with pay per views was that it was also because we also our cousins. We had a few cousins who was also into wrestling. They would come over and we just all watch the pay per view together. And we would like when we bought it, we would get like a blank VSH tape, and we would just record it so we can go back and watch it. And we did that for like a lot of the pay per views in like the early 2000s. I say like the pay per views leading up to both WrestleMania 17 and WrestleMania 18 because we had a lot of those on tape, and those are like two of the WrestleManias I could remember accurately from my childhood, and it was. I don't know what you're thinking. Like, why didn't you? Well, you haven't mentioned ECW, WCW. The thing with that is, all you saw like one episode of WCW. I think that was Nitro. I don't know if it was Nitro or Thunder, but I saw one of those, and that was like during our Disneyland trip, Disney World trip, and that was just, oh boy, that trip. My mom still this gets us, like you just hold it over our head, said like never again, she won't do that. As far as ECW goes, I haven't watched that either. Growing up, I haven't watched any ECW. Even though I knew like what it was, I knew just never watched it. And my older brother, he watched both. He watched WCW and ECW. And looking back now, with like after watching like Paul Heyman's DVD, like how ECW was compared to like WCW and WWF, like in terms of actually having talent and booking them right. Like the ECW problem was like they had financial issues as compared to the other two. Like compared to WCW, which at the time like they had talent, but they just had bad booking. So they were steady financially, just didn't know what to do with their talent. And WWF was just blowing them out the water because they had like both in spades. So that's how they won out the war. But as far as like live, I remember like going to two live shows. One was like a Attitude Era show, like during the Attitude Era. I remember that, and not being able to see much because of how small I was at the time. So that was to be expected. And the other one was when I was in. This happened like when I was in middle school, and we went to go see because it was the Survivor Series where Undertaker was supposed to come back, and that's the thing about that one was see our again other older brother, well eldest brother, he he ended up getting tickets and got us to go there, and it was one of those moments where you later reflect on it and you just like what it was mostly done out of pity than anything, like more than like instead of like wanting to literally hang out, like no, it's just because it just felt like that because he met somebody else, somebody he knew, and I just happened to mishear him say like they don't really get out they like never they like told his friend or whatnot, that me and my brother, we never really get out the house like that. And I'm like, that was just like uncalled for because I'm like, because we played video games a lot, so we always went outside, like it like something demanded it, like people came over helping out outside, stuff like that. But that was just, I look back at it now, I was like, well, that was a middle finger, if anything. And it was really, I'd say the live experience were just like different than watching it like on TV. Like it definitely showed because thank God no commentary. And it to this day, like one of the things I want to do the most is like first off attend WrestleMania. That's one of the many things I want to do in my life. And just as an event, like go to that, E3 and Comic Con and NXT now because NXT. Okay, listen. I'm not gonna go any further than that. Just NXT. That's all. I voiced my thoughts on NXT, so I'm not like I said, no present wrestling. Um, and looking back now, like yeah, I knew wrestling was like I was glad to be in that whole mindset of like not knowing that wrestling was scripted and whatnot, and just being able to like enjoy it, like seeing people do like death defying stunts, like you would like another person would be able to do and at all, and just come out okay most of the time. But other times, like I knew like people would get injured. Like that was when like in everything like WWE really set home the whole like don't try this at home and showing everybody the little thing that showed everybody get injured and whatnot. And if only backyard wrestling would have followed that damn suit. And that was also another wrestling experience I had the fortunate experience with. And if you if you ever watch backyard wrestling and more specifically like a VHS about it, I it was I already oh fuck it. I only use it for like one. I only like saw it for like one reason, and I will not state that a reason. If you saw it, you know what I'm talking about. It's even on the cover, so yeah, that kind of says a lot when you have to sell your wrestling like merchandise like that. So yeah, shameless plugins or shameless advertisement is shameless, and as like I said, it's just like with the same thing with gamers. Like it just stuck with me, and like I just kept going back and got into it like so much. Like and then it was just talk about with like my friends. If they most of my friends like knew like it's a work, it's not real. I'm like, okay, all right. I like later. I was just like, okay, I get it. It's not a real. It's scripted. I'm like, at least I watch it for the entertainment. Okay, I'm like, really, like, it's like, damn, y'all just sucked up. I was around some fun sucking kids. I will admit that. Like, they sucked the fun out of everything. Ugh. It was just so. Well, it was in DPS, but Jesus, looking back now, that was gonna be a fun video to talk about childhood in a freaking DPS school. But like I said, and it was just one of those things that you're glad to have been a part of and watch it grow because like how it is now, like yes, it has its faults. The current product has its faults, but it's just something like you grew up with and it can be better. And because it does have those rare moments where it does get better and they seem to be leaning in the right directions. Hint, hint. and other times it's just like they just lose it. Like that, they got it so comfortable, like with the success. It's baffling, you know. And I guess that's what happens when you're just like the main dominant wrestling source at the time. But yeah, that was my childhood. And the wrestling games. That was those. Do I need to say anything about those? I don't think I should. Like the Attitude Era games and No Mercy and the SmackDown games. So yeah, those are fun times. Don't really know what I don't. Yeah, I don't really know what to say at this point. Like I said all I could. So yeah, basically. There was with aggression there. That too. That was um I say the beginning. No, I would say the beginning, and that was just because the whole brand split. I was Team Raw. Okay, I was because I always watch Raw as compared to SmackDown. But even now, looking at it now, I'm like, yeah, they were right. Like SmackDown really was like legit compared to Raw. Like Raw just had like the main names, but SmackDown had the talent and the storylines, and it hopefully we get something like that with wherever direction the WWE's going. But I don't know because Vince is still gonna be behind the scenes and everything. But that's basically the gist of my wrestling childhood. Had some good times, bad times. A lot of deaths happened too. Wasn't too fine to find out of Eddie and Chris Benoit dying. The later, especially when they did the whole "he doesn't exist" thing, and it was that was where like it was real, like where they broke character. So yeah, and like I said, I'm holding out hope. Like the current product, like gets better, but like I said, Twitter and other people. So I'm not. That's all I'm saying on the current topic. But I'm done here, guys. Thanks for watching. How do you feel about wrestling? Do you watch it? Are you a casual fan? Like, did you grow up with it? Are you into it now? Um, who's your favorite wrestler? What wrestling game is your favorite? Because mine would have to be I know everybody keeps saying like No Mercy, but mine has to be SmackDown 2. SmackDown 2, like Know Your Role, because all the different characters they had. Because I had the first SmackDown, and there were just so many characters. Because I'm like, why? And just oh boy, that was a fun time. Fun. That was when we had those arcade gameplay, instead of just being ultra realistic. But can't have it all. And what's your favorite childhood WrestleMania mode? Because that was another thing I probably should have mentioned. I remember like the GOC match. That was my god. That was like the best thing ever. Well, that was SummerSlam. My bad. The the one where Stone Cold turned heel. That was good. And WrestleMania 18, that was also one of my favorites because of the whole Rock and Hulk Hogan match. And yeah, that's about it. That's about it here, guys. And like I said, social media is on the channel banner. Like, follow me on Twitter. Well, follow me on Twitter. Ask me messages on Twitter. I got an XFM. Just social media's there. I'm not forcing you. I'm not holding a gun to you and whatnot. Just they're there. See you guys tomorrow for let's talk anime. That that should be a fun one. And hopefully, and I do mean hopefully, WrestleMania doesn't turn out. Who am I kidding? Even Marie's gonna be there. Like, seriously, she's gonna be there. My God, I've not been more excited than WrestleMania. Than just that sheer fact alone. Oh man, oh man. I never thought I'd see the day where I'm happy for even Marie appearing at WrestleMania. Good going, WWE. Good going. Oh, and NXT Dallas. Damn it! Damn it! Just